Hello, friends. And I haven't really done one of these since the next Benedict case, but I think we need to have a bit of a talk about what happened at the UCLA campus last night. So, it would have been May 1st at like roughly midnight. Uh, an incident occurred where some counter-protestors arrived at the pro-Palestinian encampment there at the UCLA campus, and it got a little heated. It proceeded to basically become a hours-long melee and pitched fight between the two sides, with police doing literally nothing but sitting there and eating at Chic-fil-A. It was like one of the strangest events I have ever seen live. And I like to watch all events live if I can. And I haven't really seen anything like this since maybe like January 6th or something. In terms of just peak weirdness and unhinged behavior. But I thought I'd break it down kind of as it happened and what I saw and what all went down. And try to distill it all to you into one cohesive story. So, as I kind of mentioned before, it all began at UCLA, roughly about midnight Pacific time. And it started with a crowd of counter protesters showing up to the site of the encampment, which, I mean, there's been counter protesters at a lot of these protests, and they just kind of hang out and chill there. So it's like I kind of expected it to be somewhat similar. But pretty quickly, you could tell this crowd was a little different. So we had some interesting use of devices among these counter protesters. Everything ranging from strobe lights to loud sirens, which were oddly similar to police sirens. I'm kind of surprised you can just like blare police sirens out loud for hours at a time. No one seemed to, I guess I didn't really matter to anyone. They used green lasers, which they were pointing into the crowd and encampment multiple times. And several times I noticed even into the sky at the local news helicopter, which, as far as I'm aware, is considerably illegal in the United States. I don't think you can just be pointing lasers at aircraft, especially those that are registered with the FAA. There are many significant issues with that. So it's kind of surprised. It just seemed to be general disorder and chaos. But at the same time, these counter protesters appeared more prepared than others. They employed tactics that you would normally see in perhaps like the military or police. I thought that was kind of curious that they employed tactics that I don't know your average like 20-year-old kid at college exactly is familiar with. To be honest, I thought that was all kind of suspicious, to be frank. But the counter protesters also employed fireworks. They at one point lobbed several explosive devices across into the encampment, where they exploded, contacting several people. And these tents, which are not exactly the most durable looking structures in the world, were subjected to fire. Not to mention, the counter protesters brought their own sprays of varying colors and consistencies and effects. They also were chucking things like pallets directly into people's heads. They threw things like electric scooters They threw things like fire extinguishers, pretty large, substantial objects that were clearly causing injury and people had to be hauled off and taken care of. Nothing happened to any of these individuals. It was remarkable. And the whole time, I should mention that this is happening, campus security is literally like in the frames of the shots staring. They just stared the whole time. Like, I was confounded. I was utterly fucking mind blown by that. And on top of that, like a few hours later, once the police finally arrived, the LAPD, they also just stare. It was like perhaps another hour plus of police staring at the crowd, violently assaulting one side of students. I should mention that objectively, from clearly and from what the news anchors were watching, everyone involved could see one side was instigating the conflict 99% of the time. Particularly two individuals, which are kind of the characters of the entire event, really. You have white mask guy and red scarf guy. Both of these individuals were present the whole night, were just constantly running up and causing shit. Red scarf guy took like 100 panels off the encampment and assaulted several people just straight up. Just walked up to them and beat the crap out of them. And nothing happened. I'm pretty sure to this day I couldn't find any arrests for Red Scarf Guy. I don't think anything happened to him. He assaulted numerous people and threw tons of objects. Was like if he wasn't even there, I'm not sure if the other students would have even really cared enough to try to cause a fight. It seemed like there were definitely agitators or provocateurs in the crowd causing the conflict. It was incredibly transparent to someone watching the event. Palestinian students, like, at no point really left their encampment and were doing anything to the pro-Israeli students. At one point, defensively, they tried moving the walls kind of in a outward together, which was somewhat effective, but they didn't. It's not like they made it a substantial distance and were like literally bullying the other students into anything. They were just holding a wall, essentially. It was insane. Sorry, I'm going like a million miles an hour here, but it was a lot to take in for the several hour time span that I was watching this on like 3, 4, 5, as many feeds as I could find to try to get an objective sense for what was happening. Because trust me, I'm all open to criticizing any side where they're being assholes. But I can't imagine in any universe anyone watching over that whole footage. ABC 7 might still have it there, the local station there in LA. But if you watch that footage, it's 100% of the violence of any note comes from one side. And whether these are actually pro-Israeli students or if they are students at all or not, it's obvious that one side is the like just demonized so much so that these others thought they could just get away with full-on wanton violence. Like I have never seen in my life. Even in January 6th, as insane as that event was, those rioters weren't going around punching out police and like punching out Democrats and stuff. It's like almost that very little conflict happened. This was like tons of fighting. and people getting hurt left and right, and actually like considerably dangerous things going on, such as the use of the lasers. I feel like lawsuits for the campus. The whole thing was insane. I can't even imagine something like this happening at a campus, let alone like in a super liberal area too. They were fine with kids just fucking each other up, shooting explosives, and it was insane. And the police just stood there watching. It's like I'm not even sure, they expressionless. It was truly bizarre to witness. Quite literally, at one point, the news helicopter couldn't find any police at the area and was so confused he just started flying around looking for the nearest police. And guess where they found them? The goddamn Chic-fil-A. The fucking Chic-fil-A. They were literally all at the Chic-fil-A. Fucking, you can't even write that. You couldn't even, I don't think Jerry Seinfeld in his wildest imagination could come up with a plot so fucking stupid as the Los Angeles Police Department. Utterly mind blown by this. It is so offensive to my sensibilities as a thinking human being. It's, I don't even know. I don't even. But yeah, this is why I don't really generally trust cops a whole lot. You know, just I can empathize with people who don't for the same reason. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? It was protecting. Like, most of the time people argue that, well, cops are just there to protect property. They're not even there to protect people. They weren't even protecting the property at this point. I don't know what they were doing. They were decorations for the lawn. They might as well have not existed altogether. It was offensive. It was stupid. It was so... They just let students get maimed and did nothing about it. And then came in and swooped in once it finally tapered off at like 4 or 5 in the morning and didn't really do shit. So thanks, LAPD, for a whole lot of fucking nothing. That was, in my history of watching events on TV, that was one of the most offensive things I had ever watched. Just from the standpoint of nobody doing anything. But there was one random faculty member, I think he was faculty, who kept running in the middle and trying to break it up. Literally, this one single man did more than the entire police department. And he was a random guy. I don't even think he had, he was just there. What the hell? So yeah, I apologize kind of for the tone of this video. It's a little angrier and animated than I normally am, but that shit does make me angry. That was fucked up. I hate bullies. I fucking hate bullies. And that was bullying is what I was watching. That was insanity. That was bigotry, that was hatred, that was everything wrong with the fucking world right there, condensed. And the only people with the power to do something about it, to stop it, just standing there and watching. That really was a parable for the whole fucking world, was that event. And I was sick to my stomach, but I just couldn't look away. I had to watch the whole thing because I knew the news the next day would spin it into probably all kinds of insane batshit stuff. Oh, it was anti-Semitism. Oh, blah, 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 blah. That was not what that was. The hatred was one-sided. It was entirely one-sided. And for all I know, the people doing the hateful things weren't even on anyone's side. They just seemed like random-ass people that came out of fucking nowhere. And nobody did anything about it. They let strangers off the street essentially assault students on the campus and did nothing. I hope these people get their asses sued through the fucking. I don't give a shit what happens. LAPD deserves to get roasted entirely for that shit. The campus security of UCLA, the administration, they should all be embarrassed. That is one of the most shameful displays I have ever seen in this country, and it made me disgusted to live in this country, frankly. I love America way more than your average person. And that was disgusting. I was so distraught by that. So I apologize that for the negative news there. But by all means, if there is a pro-Palestinian protest in your area, no need to go freak the fuck out on them and be assholes if you disagree. We live in America. You can protest shit. Especially at a public university or something. You have a First Amendment right. You can go protest whatever the hell you want. And I don't care if I agree or disagree what the shit it's about. You're allowed to do that. And that's no excuse to just start trying to blind people, light them on fire, mace them in the face, beat them with sticks, hit them with fucking wood pallets. That was insane behavior. And adults involved should just be absolutely ashamed of themselves that only one had the goddamn conscience to step in and do something be like, oh, this is ridiculous. You can't be doing this. So, yeah, sorry, I'm really pissed. This is a rare Kitty is pissed video and moment, because I am. And frankly, Palestine deserves to be free. And I hope all you haters go right to fucking hell, because I don't give a shit on that. And if it takes hatred and bigotry and racism to enforce your opinion, maybe your opinion's fucking wrong. I'm sorry. There is enough space in the world for debate and for nuance and subtlety. But if you're supporting an ethno-state and putting people in ghettos and killing them en masse and beating their students and brown shirting them, then maybe you're on the wrong side of history. You're gonna go just where the Nazis did. You're following the same path, and you're going to end up there. And And don't forget, if this shit really is heavy for you, if this is a lot, then Discord's always open. I think that helped a lot to just have folks to talk to and kind of process through that a little bit as it was happening. We really only have each other, so nobody's coming to save us. It's definitely not the LAPD, that's for sure. There's a Chic-fil-A in the way. Oh God. Alrighty. Love you, fam. Have a good one. Bye.